All right, wrestling fans and everybody throughout the entire wrestling world, once again, it is your host, the Super Destroyer, the professional wrestling machine, and the first ever Texarkana wrestling champion, Big Stan Harris, along with the ultimate co-host, Pack Attack, aka Pack Dog of the 3 Live Stream. And we're coming to you tonight, locked and loaded, like never before, with the SPW edition of WrestleChat Wednesday. With that said, we're going to go ahead and give it up for the upcoming Southwest Pro Wrestling Live Event at the Red Bone Magic Brewery in Texarkana, Texas on June 3rd, featuring Cowboy Jeremy Young, SPW heavyweight champion, second generation wrestler, the second generation Freebird, if you will, Miranda Gordy.
Awesome.
Connor Vega, Niles Plunk, and yours truly. And with that said, we're about to go ahead and get down to business, baby. I hope you're ready, because we're about to get ready to take you along for a ride. Now, here we go.
All right, man. Awesome, man.
Pack Daddy, what you got for me tonight?
Oh, not much. Let me go ahead and how you doing tonight before we get started on these topics? And everybody, welcome to WrestleChat Wednesday. This is the creation of Big Stan Harris from his mind, the Texarkana champion.
Yeah. And also, first and foremost, shout out, big up and big shout out to everybody that's hanging with us in the chat right now. M3 Reviews, my brother, my DJ, Mac DJ ACDC, my brother from the ATL, Dare 2727. Just want y'all to know y'all are in for a treat, because later on tonight, we're going to have my man, my partner, the SPW promoter, the international hustler himself, Mr. Al Henderson, will be joining us a little later on in the show.
Oh, man. I'm excited for that, man. First time I get to talk to him. That'd be great.
Right on.
All right, Big Stan. Before we bring in Big Al tonight.
Yeah.
I got to get your thoughts on a few hot topics that are currently going on in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, brother. Starting out recently, WWE lifting their marijuana policy. What's your thoughts on that, sir?
I feel like it's long overdue. It's just like with marijuana being legalized in all the states that it's been legalized in so far. I think that it's just long overdue, man. It's kind of jacked up that certain wrestlers have been penalized and fined and just punished throughout the years for the use of marijuana. Something that is, without a shadow of a doubt, is natural. You know what I'm saying? I've done all of my research over the years about all the benefits, the medical benefits regarding marijuana. So, with the current times, playing a role as far as proving that there's not nearly as much wrong with marijuana consumption as most would have made it out to be back in the day. So I think it's a very good step forward for WWE and for everyone else that has made the decision to lift whatever restrictions that they have had on marijuana use.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and we don't really remember what the policy was. I think it was just a strict ban across the board, no tolerance with fines. I think is what you were talking. You thought maybe.
Yeah, from my understanding, according to Booker T, he was fined like $2,500 before. I remember it being said that RVD, which happens to be a very strong advocate for marijuana consumption and legalization, he was fined and even stripped of the WWE Championship during the height of his career and his run in WWE. And you know, just several others that have been penalized throughout the years. You know, if they were ever tested positive for marijuana. So yeah, man, it's been kind of harsh. It's been a lot of harsh punishment handed down behind that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to it medically. I got some actual experience with a family member using it, and it helped them actually prolong their life. And I think where it might come in real handy for a lot of these, guys that maybe already do it is pain. You know, the pain they go through on the bumps and bruises of the road.
Yeah, even Bret Hart spoke on it thoroughly back in the day. You know, during his time as an active performer. You know, there's quite a few big names that have always been proactive as far as trying to get things legalized and getting the bans removed and all those different things. You know, so like I said, man, it's a nice step forward for WWE and all their performers and just for like I said, anybody that has to pretty much have to rely on marijuana use for whatever reason or another medically. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, the next thing I wanted to bring up was apparently on a live show. I do believe it was last Friday. We have the topic of Roman Reigns potential leaving the WWE. He addressed the crowd during that show about the potential of maybe exiting the WWE.
Yeah, I've heard rumors and speculation going around for quite a while now. I would say over the course of the last few months or half a year now that Roman could very well be getting ready to make his exit from WWE. Excuse me, and could quite possibly be going into a career in Hollywood. Although he does have some previous experience. I know with the Hobbs and Shaw Fast and the Furious branch off. He was involved in that film along with his cousin, who was of course The Rock.
Well, I think this pathway has been blazed by previous wrestlers in the past. You know, Roddy Piper left a little bit. Hogan did some stuff in the movies. The big ones we think about would be Stone Cold, but the biggest I think we think about is The Rock. You know, John Cena does a lot of things in the movies. So for me, growing up and watching wrestling, it's almost a natural transition for me to see them going from the squared circle to the big screen.
Yeah, and I've heard several wrestlers make the statement that it's actually a pretty easy transition for them due to their experience, with live TV and things of that nature.
Yeah. Like I said, there was video floating around of him addressing the crowd, so I thought that was pretty interesting to point out as well.
Yeah, I was really surprised, about the video being in circulation, you know, and him actually addressing the crowd. You know what I'm saying?
I think that probably tells us right there it's something that was wanted to be addressed, because when things are not, you know, I don't want to go way back, but we do know how the curtain call went. That wasn't supposed to be announced. So obviously we live in a different time, but to me it looked like this was something, if it was being pushed out this quick, it was meant to be circulated. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, it's not a surprise because I was actually surprised Roman was able to come back and have the lengthy run that he's had, you know, ever since he returned from his last battle with leukemia, you know, in which he's been had a long length of leukemia related situations, you know, where he's been dealing with that illness for quite a while, you know. So I could see him wanting to lower the risk factor by continuing to perform in ring and in WWE and try to go for something a little more safe, you know, in at this stage of his life and career.
Yeah, I don't ever know if there's ever been a situation where it's been the other way around. We've seen several wrestlers go from the squared circle, like I said before, to the big screen. I don't know if we've ever seen it the other way around. Hollywood, then wrestling. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Not very often. And especially like in a prominent perspective where an actor comes from Hollywood and he kind of makes wrestling his main source of income. Yeah, I don't recall it being done like that either.
Okay. All right. Well, if we're done with that topic, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next, sir.
All right, come on with it.
All right. But before we do that, man, I'm thirsty. And
I'm always thirsty.
with me taking a drink of my beer, we're going to be talking about the appearance of Cody Rhodes on the Broken Skull Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. What do you think about that?
The most I gathered from that show was it was a great way to put out a retrospective from you know, Cody's first run in WWE and everything leading up to the AEW run and you know, him ultimately coming back to WWE. It didn't really shed a lot of light on any of the disagreements that were supposedly had taken place, but I mean, which that's fine. Honestly, I was tuning in expecting for some light to be shed on that, but that wasn't the case. So other than that, I mean, it was still a great show. It was a very good show, very educational for those that probably weren't around and weren't wrestling fans during the time of Cody's first run in WWE. You know, again, I do expect big things out of this WWE run, his current run that he's in now. I do feel as if he's going to be WWE champion at some point. It's just all the arrows are pointing in that direction. So it's going to be interesting, you know, leading up to that. But you know, again, the show it was good. It was a good watch for anybody that wants to go in there and check it out if you haven't already. But you know, again, it wasn't what I was expecting as far as what I had already mentioned.
Yeah, well, excuse me. We talked about Cody Rhodes on our last show, so he's in the topics again. So the way I look at it, that's good. I mean, you're talking about him. He's on the lips of people. He's in the social media. That means he's hopefully gaining some traction. You know what I mean? So this is Yeah.
Cody's one of the top. He's one of the top paid performers right now. Overall, so you know what I'm saying. Hey, he deserves to have his name ring. You know, he deserves to be in the position that he's in right now. He's hustled his behind off to get to where he is right now. So, hey, we're subject to be talking about Cody on the next 10 episodes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not going to be surprised what might transpire between now and whenever, you know, we do the next Wrestle Chat live stream. So I'm just hoping that Cody just keeps it going, man. You know, keeps it going strong and keep delivering and giving us something to talk about.
All right. I know they had touched base on that podcast about his previous persona as Stardust and how he kind of wanted just to really be separated from that. At the same time, he also performed that, you know, where when he was Stardust, he did that little rolling somersault or flip or whatever he would do, and then he would come out of it like that. It was kind of interesting to me that he did that, even though he wanted to be separated from Stardust. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think he planned on having to work that persona for as long as he did, and they were trying to force his hand with that situation, and he was just really ready to do what he's doing now for the most part, you know. And so it's just good that everything is working out the way that it is, you know. I mean, it is benefiting both Cody and WWE at this moment. Right. So yeah, I think it can only get better because Cody's that good.
Yeah, but the podcast definitely didn't touch base on some of the things we're interested in, but it's one of 2 or 3 shows that I like to catch. I like to give some shout outs to the Broken Skull podcast, also Booker T, and is his name Brad Miller? Is it Brad Miller?
Brad Gilmore.
I'm sorry, so sorry about that. Brad Gilmore and
Brad Gilmore. Yeah,
the Jim Cornette show. Those are 3 pods and shows that I like to watch. They're very entertaining. And they're also very informative. You're going to get entertainment, but you're also going to get the knowledge in the back, the in-depth behind the scenes. So even though we didn't get what we wanted kind of per se out of it, I still enjoy those shows quite a bit.
Yeah, Cody's a class act, man. So I could see him, you know, trying to avoid and get around, you know, wanting to go into that. You know what I'm saying? Just going into too much detail as far as any type of friction or disagreements that he might have had on his way out from AEW. And then, you know, ultimately, man, from the get-go, you know, Cody was never going to obtain a world championship in AEW because of the way that he was set up in the beginning, with his own storyline being that once he lost to Chris Jericho, he was never going to challenge for the AEW world title again. So he was already pretty much gone as far as he can go.
This is just my opinion. My opinion only matters to me. You know, a lot of people have different opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. I just thought he was a mainliner. When he went to AEW, I thought the maturation process really went forward with him. I thought it just really showed that he can be a top guy.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, he proved his worth. He proved his market value, if nothing else, by going on the indie circuit and, you know, going to all these different companies and doing everything, you know, accomplishing everything that he did during his time in the indies. So again, man, you know, there's nothing but higher elevation for him during his run with WWE. His current run with WWE right now, man, the sky's the limit.
I don't think you can sleep on the fact of his charisma. He has a lot of charisma on the mic, just his presence. And when he did that show on TV, it kind of showed that, hey, he could do multiple things.
Oh, yeah, definitely. and he holds himself back quite a bit. You know, I think he could go even harder than what he's doing right now. But he's got so much self-restraint and he's so humble. You know what I'm saying? We're not getting. I don't think we're getting him at 100%. It's just how good he is.
All right. Oh man, this next one's all turned up, man. We got them boys, the Briscoe brothers.
Oh,
we made their debut in TNA, bro. And they didn't just make the debut. What did they do?
Hey man, they have secured the Impact World Tag Team Championships. And you know that this is supposedly their 14th championship, but they are far beyond 14 championships if you count all their other accomplishments like GCW and Pro Wrestling Noah. They're just different places, you know, that they've been besides Ring of Honor, AEW. I'm sorry, not AEW. Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, and GCW.
Yeah, because they put Violent by Design straight up on notice right when they busted in. We're coming for them belts.
And then you know they are the most recent winners of the Crockett Cup for the NWA. Let's not overlook that fact right there, man. You know that's a hell of an accomplishment also within itself. You know what I'm saying? And they are one of the most decorated tag teams throughout professional wrestling for a reason. They are that good. They can go anywhere on the planet. And they've even mentioned that they can go to another galaxy and they can dominate in another galaxy. And I agree with them 100%. Them boys are just that good. Jay and Mark Briscoe, they are doing their thing after all these years of returning to Impact Wrestling. And it's just fun to watch them and great to see that they are still doing what they're doing and they're doing it at the level that they're doing it. And I think we still got a lot to come and a lot to enjoy from Jay and Mark Briscoe, aka them boys.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're a tag team, I mean, sometimes that's not always the case, but they definitely have great in-ring chemistry, good mic skills, and you know their look. We were talking earlier today. Look is something that's very important in wrestling. I mean, you can have all the skills, you know, and sometimes if you don't have the look, you're just not going to get the push. So they definitely stand out with their look, their charisma, and their in-ring chemistry for sure.
Oh yeah, they're wrestlers. They're most definitely professional wrestlers, without a shadow of a doubt. You know that's what they do by looking at them. And like you said, that's the best thing about it. You can look at them and tell they are professional wrestlers, 100%. And you can tell when they're in the ring. You know, they're just that polished.
Yeah, just man, tag team duos are something that's very storied in the world of wrestling, man. If you think of all the good tag teams, man, it almost puts me in mind of when you start talking about the heavyweights. And I know they're not heavyweights, but man, there's some legendary tag team performers that almost hit the nostalgia button, just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have to add the Briscoes to that list. You know, they're a modern day classic, and then on top of that, man, you know, like I said, they carry a name that was, of course, a legendary tag team before them, which was Jack and Jerry Briscoe from back in the day, from Oklahoma, which I'm sure you're familiar with that tag team.
The Briscoes. Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, are we ready to go on with our guest? Is that about time right now?
Oh yeah, man. Let's see what's happening, man. Let's see if he's ready.
Oh man.
Let's see if he's ready to rumble.
Y'all know who's coming next, don't you? We better get ready for some Southwest Pro Wrestling action coming up.
Yeah,
What's up,
let's
guys?
see him. Oh yeah, he's here. He's here.
Hey.
He's with us.
Big Stan, give
Hey,
this
man,
man an
check out his attire.
introduction.
Check out his attire.
Hey,
Look at you.
you know who I did this for, Big Stan? You know why I wear
Hey,
this?
man. Hey, that's what
Because
I'm talking
I
about
know-
right there, baby.
I know that you're the big-time Cowboy fan.
All the way. All
You
the
know
way.
who number 22 was, don't you?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, absolutely. The
You
one and
guys
only.
talking-
Willie Smith,
You
baby.
guys talking wrestling?
Just a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, man. That's what we do here on the Wrestle Chat Wednesday, Big Al. We gotta get in here and get it with all the professional wrestling fans and everybody throughout the world of professional wrestling. Every chance we get here on the Wrestle Chat Wednesday.
Yeah.
Big Stan,
Now,
you know
what
we
you
got.
going, man? But besides enjoying you a good cold beverage.
Well, yes, sir. It's that time. Hey, you know, I guess you know, man, we got a big show coming up June 3rd. Southwest Pro Wrestling makes its way back to the Red Bone Magic Brewery over in Texarkana, Texas. And man, you know, here's the deal. We're going to be bringing real professional wrestling to the Texarkana area. Man, you've probably heard some of these stories that's going around here in the Arkansas area, haven't you, Stan? These guys.
Brother, let me tell you, I actually get tired of getting the phone calls about these outlaw shows, these backyard, these backyard trash bag fiascos is going on. These glorified chicken fights that people are calling professional wrestling. Man, you got to be kidding me.
Man, I had a couple of my friends that, you know, I don't know. After talking to him, they said they thought that was one of our shows to begin with because wrestling was in Texarkana. But what they don't understand is, you know, there ain't no territory. So therefore, anybody can come anywhere they want to and set up a ring and call themselves doing wrestling. And they said they sat there for about 15, 20 minutes, and it didn't take them very long to figure out that there wasn't nothing professional about that show whatsoever, period. It went on in a park right outside Texarkana. Said it was the biggest bunch of crap you've ever seen. But you know what, man? I just hope that don't, you know, I've always said that's probably one of the things that's going to hurt real professional wrestling is all these backyarders, these guys that don't want to train. They think their training courses is watching Monday night WWE on their television at home, and that's about as much as they get. You know, when we had that school, Stan, you know very well because you attended the school, the Southwest Pro Wrestling Wrestling Academy in Texarkana, and I called a bunch of these guys around Arkansas, and I said, "Hey guys," I said, "we're going to open up a school. Said, I'd like for you guys to come check it out. You know, I'm gonna make it as reasonable as possible." And I think I said, "Hey, you come on over, and you know we'll go through our first month for $50. For $50. Can you believe that? Now that's you would think that'd be kind of like, hey, unreal, and it was really. But here's the deal: I got the calls. These guys talking about, "Hey man, that's too far, man. That's like 45 miles from my house. That's like 40 miles." I said, "Hey, brother, I got some friends that drove all the way to Dallas, Texas from Texarkana 2 and 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week, 200 miles, 400 round trip to learn the business, to learn how to wrestle." These guys can't drive 40 miles, 50 miles. But I'll tell you what, I bet you I could call any of them up right now and say, "Hey, come over to my show, man. I got a spot for you." They can drive that 50 miles. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to touch bases. I didn't know if you probably got some of them emails or whatever, you know, about some of these guys around the Arkansas area. But man, it's terrible around this area. I'm telling you, man, it's tough. But we're gonna weed them out. We're gonna weed them out one way or the other. But as you know, man, we do professional wrestling. We use the top people. We use people that's got 10, 15, 20 years experience, more, and verifiable experience. That's the deal right there. A lot of these guys in all over Texas, they know me, and a lot of them know you. So, you know, they know that when I put on a wrestling show, there you go right there. There's our next show. If you look at that cowboy, look at that cowboy right there. He's got about 20, probably 25 years of wrestling experience. I think the least one probably on that card right there that's for as far as experience is probably going to be Miranda Gordy. But boy, she's working hard and she's getting better and better every time I see her. But a lot of those guys there's got 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years experience in wrestling. That's what I want. I don't want no, you know, I'd love to be able to teach these younger guys. Of course, you know, I'm 62 years old. So, you know, I'd love to be able to teach these young guys the business and try to help them, you know, and get them somebody like the cowboy down here to help train them and whatever. But man, they don't want to spend no money and they don't want to drive, you know, unless they're on the show. They don't really care they don't want to train. So anyway, well, we got that show coming up. It's going to be a great show. And of course, you're on it, the champ, the Texarkana wrestling champion, Big Stan Harris.
Yeah, well, with that being said, before we go any further, Mr. Promoter, I just have one question, and I'm pretty sure that everybody here on the Wrestle Chat Wednesday wants to know, who's my opponent going to be? There has been an open challenge laid out. Has anybody answered the challenge yet?
I know.
If you look on that card, you'd see there's about 4 guys on there, and every one of them's trying to chase that championship from Big Stan. And I'm gonna, hey, and the person that's going to be going for that belt right there, they're on that card. That's as close as I'm going to tell you right there. They're on the card, so you can just pick the one you want to there, and maybe you'll get it right. But yeah, we ain't going to discuss that right now because it didn't make any difference, Big Stan. I mean, you're the type of man that didn't. Why do you care?
No, it doesn't make me any difference, and I really don't care. You know, I just feel like for the fans and for all the people that are watching, and for all the people that are going to be coming out in attendance, I figure whoever it is will want to go ahead and get the ball rolling, get the people talking. You know what I'm saying? Get the buzz generating on themselves. Because when it comes down to it, you don't got to worry about me. Because the champ is going to do what he does.
And well, that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter.
Fly somebody's head, and that's leave out victorious. And that's all there is to it. But I just figure, you know, some hungry individual out there on the SPW roster would say, Mr. Al Henderson, I am that man. I am here to step up to the plate to face the Super Destroyer, the professional wrestling machine, and the first ever Texarkana champion, so I can be the man that is next on the list to be looking up at the lights and getting my shoulders pinned to the mat. That's
well, Stan, they're gonna be a man gonna come along. They're gonna be a man that's gonna come along and he's gonna take that championship from you. You can almost believe that, brother. You're a tough guy, but there's some big guys out there, and they're chasing your belt, dude. They're chasing your title. That's what this business is all about. I had to go get this from the cowboy, but only because I had to do a little bit of work on it. Oh. That's one fine looking belt right there. And he doesn't want to give it up either. But I told him, I said, look, dude, we're gonna keep picking guys and bringing guys in. Somebody's gonna probably take that belt away from you, and you better come get it, because I mean I just had to fix the wings on it. Kind of got a little bit loose on it, so I had to tighten it up a little bit. But it's ready to go.
That is quite the imagination that you have, Mr. Promoter. But I'm here to tell you something. The only way that another man will get his grubby paws on this right here is going to be the day that Big Stan will not be breathing. Okay? It'll be the day that Big Stan will be 6 feet under.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Other than that, there will only ever be one first ever Texarkana wrestling champion. Because
Well,
I'm
that's
going to not only be the first ever, I'm going to be the only ever Texarkana wrestling champion for Southwest Pro Wrestling.
There's no doubt about it.
That out there.
Nobody cuts him. Nobody cuts him like Big Stan does. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, but you know, there's no doubt about it. He is and was and he is the first Texarkana wrestling champion. There's no doubt about that. That championship's new. It's a little over a year old now. Of course, Stan's held it since it came out. And that's true. But I keep telling Stan, hey, there's going to be somebody come along, man. Because they're chasing that belt. I mean, you know, all the guys are always chasing these belts. I mean, that's what it's all about is the portfolio, to be able to show these belts, to be able to make your pictures with these belts, and they be yours. I mean, you actually earn them. So, and there's no doubt that Stan definitely earned his. He worked real hard to get that. As a matter of fact, I think he went up against a fence 2 or 3 times. Got his head busted open a little bit, but all in all, when it was all said and done, he walked away with the championship. So, you know, and that's good. And I want him to continue to have it.
Yeah, Big Stan got some color on that last match.
Yeah, absolutely. In the words of the legendary Nature Boy, the greatest of them all, I bled, I sweat, I paid the price. But here's the thing. These guys that are championship chasers, okay, you have a better chance of going to Walmart into the toy section and buying you one of those toy titles that they have over there. Because when it comes down to your chances of chasing down the Texarkana Wrestling Championship, the most prestigious and most coveted prize in all of Southwest Pro Wrestling and wrestling all together, brother, your chances about as much as a snowflake in the bottom of you know where. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Go ahead.
I got a question for as Big Stan tells me, the international hustler, Mr. Big Al Henderson. Can you put that belt that you just had up on blast? Can you put that on blast, Big Stan, so we can see that championship belt?
Can you see that? I think the light may be getting on a little bit. Let's see if we can get it up there close.
Can you put them on blast, Big Stan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so people can get a look at that belt too.
Let's see. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't toyed around with putting them on blast.
Okay, no worries. So, I haven't seen that belt before, and belts are very interesting to me. Like, there's a lot that I think look good, and there's a lot that don't look good, and that's a very nice looking belt, along with Big Stan's as well.
And my apologies to all the viewers. There's the one function that I have not experimented with. So on the next Wrestle Chat Wednesday, I promise you, I will have learned how to put anything and everything on blast.
Yeah,
so forgive me.
Actually, I should be on there. I should be on there now myself, and I should be the biggest guy on here. I don't know why I'm so small. Yeah, that's me. I can see myself way down there.
Your phone's turned this way instead of this way. That's why it's like that.
Oh, is that reasonable? Okay.
Yeah, you got it on portrait mode.
I'm going to work with this thing, and the next time I come on, I'm going to be on here right. So, you know what I mean?
Let me give the people a little bit of history. After my first couple of shows that I was on, when I first kind of got in the door in the wrestling business, it didn't take me very long because I was on the search for an actual professional wrestling trainer and wrestling school, because I wanted to know how I could pay my dues in the business. I knew that much about it to where I knew to ask that question. And thankfully, a man that, you know, well, he's the boss at my job. He knew of Al Henderson and the man that trained me. And so Al Henderson had just opened up the wrestling school, therefore allowing me to be able to go and get trained and everything. And I just have to put this out. There's very few people that I still have a healthy relationship with throughout, you know, every area that I've been through in wrestling. And I'm very grateful for that. And, you know, Al and myself, our relationship has stayed consistent since the first day I met him. And it says a lot about him as a person. He's done nothing but help me since day one.
When was that, Big Slam? When did y'all meet?
Oh, say it again.
When was the first time you guys met?
I actually didn't meet him until I went to the wrestling school. We were at a couple of events together. We were in the same place at the same time, but I didn't actually meet him cordially until I went to the wrestling school. You know, I was doing a lot of Facebook messaging and stuff like that in order to get the location and the times and all of that different stuff. So it took maybe a month or so before we were able to hook up, but ever since
it's been
then,
about what, 8 years? Something, been about 7 or 8 years.
7 years. Yep. But I remember Al from, you know, the older Southwest Pro Wrestling shows from years ago. You know, when he used to have Iceman Parsons and Jeremy Bar and
Cowboy
a lot of the world class Tommy Rich and, you know, a lot of the older names from back in the day. You know, he hasn't just now started doing wrestling shows. Southwest Pro Wrestling actually has a pretty nice track record and lineage, you know, dating back at least as far as I know, like the late 90s. So yeah, it was just a really good experience for me to be able to go in that direction in order to, you know, do what I'm doing in professional wrestling. You know, so I'm very thankful, very grateful for this man that we got on here tonight with us. You know, we've got a lot of good stories, you know, from being on the road, and just we put in a lot of work together. You know, but he is the man that's responsible, you know, for a lot of my success in my, you know, advancing in the business, you know, along with Dr. X and another gentleman by the name of Josh Adams and so many others, you know, but those are the most instrumental that have just always stuck with me throughout my period of time being in professional wrestling.
Your cowboy just tried to call me. We know what he wants. He wants to make sure I'm going to Ringo, Georgia with him here in a couple of weeks. But no, hey, speaking of Ringo, Georgia, Pac, I don't know if he's told you or not. Hey, Stan, tell Pac what Paul Lee came out with a name for Stan to use instead of Big Stan Harris. Tell him what it was, Stan.
The Nature Bro.
Nature Bro.
Dude,
you gotta know Paul Lee. Paul Lee is actually the last. You can see that's the good thing about the Wrestle Chat Wednesday. You learn stuff that you probably won't learn nowhere else. Paul Lee is actually the last professional wrestler to get the Nature Boy tag put on him. Okay,
that's right.
Now,
that's right.
Paul Lee and myself, fortunately, I was able to go to Shreveport, Louisiana, and tag with Paul Lee, and we faced the Cowboy Jeremy Young, the SPW champion, along with former WCW NWO member Buff Bagwell. Okay,
that's right.
So you can go back on my YouTube playlist. There's a video on it I did. It was a live video where the Nature Boy Paul Lee at that time went ahead and entitled me the Nature Bro. And I have been trying to figure out a way. I've been brainstorming, trying to figure out a way and the perfect timing for implementing the Nature Bro persona on the world of professional wrestling. But I will say this, don't count me out, because it's subject to happen at any time.
I remember getting that phone call. I remember getting that phone call, and you said, "Hey, Big Al, let me ask you something. What do you think if I go with that name, Nature Bro, and I get me a robe?" And he just went on, and I was laughing so hard inside, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings. And I said, "Man, I don't know, brother. I don't know." Ooh. But Paulie's a super guy, man. He's doing a big thing over in Ringo, Georgia. I think it's on the 22nd of this month. It's called Wrestle Jam. And matter of fact, Miranda Gordy, of course, you know, she was born and raised there in Ringo, Georgia. So she's going in. She's going to be there. I think. Let's see. I think Bagwell's going to be there. Mark Henry's going to be there. Sanaka, the Moose, Moose is going to be there. Moose. And Cowboy, the Southwest Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion, Cowboy Jeremy Young's going to be there, along with Paul Lee and I can't remember who all else is there. It's going to be it's a real good card. It's going to be a good show. I made it a couple years ago and with Jeremy, and we had a lot of fun. We went from there, and then we went down to Alabama, down to Dothan, Alabama, and we met with the late Bob Armstrong and Abdullah the Butcher and Robert Fuller and Jake the Snake Roberts and just a bunch of guys down there, man. It was the Road
Dog was there too, right?
Road Dog was there. That was probably one of the best road trips I've ever made. Especially being able to see, and back at that show, back at that Wrestle Jam, you had, you had Mick Foley was there, Sergeant Slaughter was there. I mean, what's his name? The little short not Snobble. What's his name?
Hornswoggle.
Yeah, he was there. He was funny. But met all them guys, man, that one weekend, and just had a long drive, just had a lot of fun, man. That was probably one of the best road trips I've ever made. It was a lot of fun. But I've been in this business often. Well, I got started back in 1976. 76 over in Albany, Georgia, at a skating rink, at Ralph Allison skating ring there. That's back when y'all probably don't know, but a promoter by the name of Fred Ward out of Columbus, at the Columbus Municipal Auditorium there in Columbus, Georgia. He had wrestling before Georgia Championship Wrestling kind of took over. But then there you had Abdullah the Butcher, and you had you had Wrestling 1 and 2. You had oh my God, and now that I'm trying to think of it, I can't think of all the names, but I was the guy that got the little job of walking the wrestlers down to the ring and bringing back their glasses and their caps and robes and jackets and this and that and the other. And that's how I first got into this business, man. And I've loved it ever since. And of course, I've been promoting that for.
Looks like we got a question. We got a question from Pack Attack here. Let's see.
Come on with.
Well, I think my question. He was already kind of heading down that road. Go ahead and finish if you need to, Al.
No, go ahead, man. No, I'm fine.
There's a lot of people in the chat, and we also want to let them know we're going to address the chat at the end of the show. And I think it'd be cool to address the chat with Al, and maybe he can get to know him. But a lot of people don't know what you do for SPW. If you could kind of tell them what you do and what your involvement is with that Southwest Pro Wrestling.
Oh, mine?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually the CEO of Southwest Pro Wrestling. I do the bookings. Matter of fact, me and Stan together, we do the bookings and set up the shows. But my main goal is my main deal is actually finding a venue, talking with with the people and getting the venue, and then negotiating that venue, and then booking the wrestlers, and then me and Stan will book. We'll book not only the wrestlers, but we'll book the matches. And so that's another thing that a lot of these other guys don't that tries to do this backyard or untrained wrestling. They don't know how to book matches. They just, two guys show up, they let them wrestle. They don't know this guy. He's probably got 2 weeks training. The other one's he's probably been watching WWE on TV for 2 years. So that's and it's just I go I like to go to those shows when I ain't got nothing else to do. I'll go to those shows just so it's just cause it's fun. It's funny. It's like I call it wrestling comedy hour. Comedy hour. I mean, because that's basically what it is. I mean, and I like a lot of these guys. I like them, and I'd love to be able to work with them and see them go somewhere, but they don't want to. They're happy where they're at. They're happy making that $5 or them two hot dogs and a Pepsi. And
see, it's not. I mean, and I get where Al's coming from. I'm glad that he has the stomach to be able to digest that crap, because that's all it is. At the end of the day, is pure crap.
It's scouting. It's scouting, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know because some of these guys will bring in people from, like this last show I went to. He brought in a couple from Georgia, which to me was just a waste, but they still brought them in. And then you bring in some from Oklahoma, so and brought in some from St. Louis and all the way over in. Matter of fact, I went to one show. And they was some pretty good talent. But here's let me say this real quick. Here's the way he does it. They got a couple of promoters. What they do is they got like 4,000 friends on Facebook, right? So they say, well, I'm going to put on a show. I need some girls. So they'll go along with all the girl wrestlers that they know, and they'll ask each one of them, hey, can you work a show in so-and-so town in Arkansas? No, I'm already booked. Okay, they go to the next one. Listen here, she wants to charge $150. Well, they ain't paying that. So they go to the next one, and they keep going until they find some that'll come down and wrestle. Some of those I've heard. Look, I don't want to get in their business or whatever, but then again, hell yeah, I do. Some of them don't even get paid. So they'll come down here and they'll work, and then they don't get paid. And what are they gonna do? Kill the guy? No. Whoop him? That's probably what need to happen, but they don't. They go on about their business. Then, of course, they'll talk about them on the internet and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it doesn't make any difference because you got 4,000 friends, so you'll just go get another one for the next show. But it ran through this one girl. I think she calls herself, I hate to say this, but something Rocket, I think it is. But she is from, she's from Eastern Alabama. She's living and training with Ricky Morton. Good-looking girl, young, very talented, loves the business, wants to learn, tells the girl, hey, hit me, don't play, hit me. And she really wants to be a great performer, and she is. And I would love to get her. And I talked to her mom. Her mom said, hey, Al, man, if you just pay for our gas, we'll come down and work for you. I said, no, I can't do that. Can't do that. Pay for your gas. I mean, this is back when gas was $2 something a gallon, but that's beside the point. I mean, what I'm saying is I can't just pay for your gas and not pay you. And if you're coming all the way from Eastern Alabama, I mean, come on. Your gas alone is probably going to cost, at that time, would probably cost maybe $140, $125, $140, something like that, back, here and there. But then you got to get them a hotel room because they're going to have to spend the night. They can't drive here and drive back. So I said I'd love to, but I won't be able to do that because by the time I feel comfortable doing what I felt comfortable with, which is making sure you got the gas, get here and get back, get a hotel room, and then he pay you something, it'd be way beyond what I would want to be able to pay for someone new in the business. Someone who is getting there, but ain't there yet, but's getting there, and that's just a lot of money to pay, for someone like that, and I'm sure, by this time next year, she probably gonna be. I mean, I see on cards everywhere. As a matter of fact, if I ain't mistaken, I think she's at that Wrestle Jam. I think she's going to be on WrestleChat. But then again, that's a lot closer to her, though. You know, because Ringo, I mean, you just drive just a couple miles and you're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, you know, they're right there on the Tennessee line. Ringo, Georgia is. So, you know, she's probably got just a couple hour drive from where she lives, or I think she lived, I can't remember, Johnson City or something like that, Alabama, something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's over there pretty close. But beautiful girl, beautiful. She's about 21, I think. But man, you're going to see her. You're going to see her. I guarantee you'll see her in the big leagues here in a couple of years.
Yeah. When someone has heart, it stands out.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I'd love to.
Yeah. It stands out head and shoulders above everybody else in the crowd. You know what you got right then and there.
Absolutely. I'd love to have her on my roster, man. I'd give anything for that. But, you know, it's just that she just lives so far off, you know, and it's just not, you know, it's not profitable for her to come way over here. Now, I know when this guy brought her over there, you know, just here about 50 miles from Texarkana, I know that she didn't make nothing, you know. She's trying to get her name out there. So therefore she came over here. I think she paid for her own motel room, but they paid for her gas, you know, which, but she's trying to get her name out there. And that's part of paying your dues. You know, you got to give up some of your own money to pay your dues in this business, because, you know, if you want to be on a show 200 miles, 300 miles from here, you know, they're not going to, you know, and you're not already known, or you ain't got the experience, you know, you're not going to be able to, a promoter's not going to pay for your gas and motel room and give you money too. It's just not there. You know, it's not there for that. So, right. You know, when you pay these guys, you know, when you pay these guys $100, $150, $200, you know, to come do a 10-minute job, you know that them guys are going to put some butts in a seat. They're going to put butts in a seat, and people's wanting to see them, because that's the only way you can pay that kind of money, you know, because normally you have anywhere between 12 to 15 guys on your card. So, you know, you think about that, and you think about that for $100 to $200, you know, and you're going away $1,500, $2,000 just on payroll. And it's, you know, you got to know that you can put a lot of people in some seats in order to take care of that. Yeah. And make money yourself, you know. So,
hey, Big Stan, we're heading towards an hour on air, which is no big deal. But I was wondering if we could open it up to chat. If chat has any questions for Big Al Wise here, or anybody on the show, definitely put them questions in.
Yeah, because we got a few more minutes remaining in the time frame of the show. So yeah, we definitely don't want to leave the chats hanging any more than what we have already. And before we get into the chats, thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you very much. And I hope that you know, we didn't keep you hanging for too long. You know, but we have to go ahead and make sure that we get the show taken care of before we address the chat, because every part has a segment that we want to go ahead and knock out, and we usually like to save the chat for the end, so we can make sure we get to everybody in one walk.
Yeah, I was going to see if Dare2727 was still here, because right off the rip on the show, he had asked, hey, I got 2 wrestling questions, and Big Stan, he's got one right down there for you.
Okay, let's see.
I had a general wrestling question. Do bad guys still call matches?
Yes, absolutely. They're supposed to.
Yeah. They do.
That's the way. Yeah, that's the protocol.
Could you guys enlighten the people what exactly that means?
That's just pretty much controlling the match. The bad guy controls the match. You know what I'm saying? He's going to pretty much control the flow of the match.
Normally your heel is usually the one with most experience in most cases. Not all the time, but in most cases, because it's the heel that has to make, you know, the baby look good most of the time. So yeah, they normally what I personally look at myself is the one with the most experience. I have no problem with a baby face calling the matches if he's got more experience, or, you know, if he can control a match a lot better. And you have to know your wrestlers to know that, you know. But overall, yes, that's a true statement.
Darkinen asked, how's all the wrestling that we don't see? How's the indie shows and whatnot? Super busy? ? I think he's kind of asking is there a big difference between the shows that we don't see as opposed to shows that we do see on TV? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You understand?
For me, it's more raw. It's like, well, I think the difference between a lot of stuff that's produced on TV, you've got your camera angles, you've got your production factors, and things like that. But the live independent shows, the action is raw, gritty, quite naturally more hard hitting. At least it's supposed to be. Like the indie guys know how to put on a performance without a shadow of a doubt. Because you got to leave the fans with zero doubt in their mind about what they just saw, because you're going to want them to come back.
And you know what determines that? What determines that is our shows are not script. You take, when you're on television like WWE is, just for say, they have to be, they're script, because they pretty much, and here's another thing that I had a guy tell me with WWE. I'm not going to say who, I'm just going to say it was Hope. They actually have to, they know how many steps it is from the time they come out, when they come around that curtain to the ring. They know exactly how many steps it is. And then they're told that they can interact with the fans as far as a high five or shake or whatever, and which ones can't do it, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, in my show, first of all, of course, Babyface is the only one that really does that anyway, but I've never told a guy you can't shake somebody's hand, or tell the heel you can't pop somebody's hat off their head or whatever. They know what they can do. They pretty much know what they can do and get by with, and know what's going to be great for the moment. You know what I mean? And I pretty much don't have to tell them, because I use pretty much the same guys most of the time, and so they pretty much know what they can do and what they can't do. But no, our shows are not script, and I'm going to say probably most independent shows are not script. Now, as far as knowing who you're going to wrestle and who's coming out and that's probably, that's true. But as far as being script about you got to do this, you got to do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, here's how many steps you're going to make. All right, now we don't do none of that crap. That's what makes independent wrestling more exciting, and it's because, first of all, you don't know what's going to happen. WWE. I haven't watched WWE in 5 years. Believe it or not, I have not. Stan knows. And the reason I don't watch WWE, because it got to the point, I watched it for so long that I could tell you who was going to wrestle and who was going to win every single time. Well, if you know all this, it ain't no fun. The fun's gone. The fun factor is gone. And that's where WWE got for me. I mean, I watched it even back when Vince McMahon Sr., when Senior was running the thing. And so I watched it for many, many years. When I was growing up in,
that was back with hardcore wrestling. That was like,
well, that's back when it was real. That's back when it was more real.
The scripting wasn't there so much.
M3 had the jet, man, so we want to give him the proper send off, man. Hey, I appreciate you for stopping by and hanging with us for as long as you could, M3.
Yeah. What's up, M3? Big Al's so good that we had some questions of while he was talking. He actually answered the questions without seeing them. So, yeah, people were asking in the chat about the scriptedness, about how you do it, if it is done with your company. So you answered that straight up.
I've been doing it for almost 20-something, a little over 20 years now, as far as promoting, and I've never scripted none of my shows. Absolutely none. We'll get with the guy. We pretty much, you put your show together, you pretty much know what's going, the outcome of most stuff. You pretty much know that. I mean, not as a fan, but as a promoter and as a booker, you pretty much know exactly how that show should start and end and and all in between, But at the same time, I don't tell my guys, that you do this, you do that, you don't do this, you don't do that. They're professional enough to where all I have to do is tell them hit the ring and and who's going over. And that's basically all you have to do to it. If you got a good professional wrestler working for you. These other guys, man, they'll go out there and some of them will wrestle for 25 minutes. It's the most ridiculous crap you ever seen because they don't know when to come out, and neither does the promoter. It just doesn't make sense. And then you got some go out there and hell, they jump up in the ring within a minute. They already pinning the guy, and he didn't know what's going on, so you done pinned him, and it's over with now. And then he comes back. Well, I didn't know it's gonna be that fast. Well, shut up.
Oh, big stand. But that's where the art of wrestling comes in. There's an organic ebb and flow that needs to take place in that squared circle. And like he was talking about, that pinning in a minute doesn't work. That the 25-minute matches doesn't work. It doesn't fit within the art and the parameter of what needs to take place.
Yeah,
10, 12 minutes.
You should just be able to go out there and you should be able to do whatever maneuvers, whatever counters, whatever style that is being presented at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be able to interact. You're supposed to be able to, as they say, feed off your opponent or whatever. You're just supposed to know what to do like clockwork. You know what I'm saying?
10, 12 minutes. That's what you're really looking at. 10, 12 minutes. You ought to be able to do You ought to be able to do everything you need to do, and tell your story, and excite the fans and the whole shebang. 10, 12 minutes a match, unless you got something like if you're doing a battle royal, something like that. That's a little different. But when you're going out there for especially I'm gonna say your first 4 matches. Now, when you get into the semi-main event, main events, and championships, you may go 20 minutes. You may go 20 minutes. But other than that, the guy, it's hard to stay in that ring and move around for 20 consecutive minutes. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think it's easy, because they run 2 miles a day and all that. It's a lot of difference in you hitting those ropes. It's a lot of difference. I know that myself, and I've never been a wrestler and never wanted to be, but I've been in that ring 1,000 times, and I've ran the ropes, and I've done bumps and and I know it'll wear you out quick. You don't got that far to move. You ain't got, but in a 16-foot ring, you got about 14 feet to move around. That's it. So you running back and forth and hitting ropes and taking bumps and jumping back up and taking another bump and going up against the rope. It can wear you out quick. So you have to be in top shape.
When the bigger ring that you go into, 18, 20 foot, is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You got to move around a couple.
But you got to be in top shape, man, which I'm not, and I haven't been in several years. But I know that you definitely have to be in some good shape, and that's the reason why the guys do so much cardio and so much weightlifting and stay in the gyms when they're going to be working. When they're going to be wrestling. So it's very important that you do that. So,
well, I think a big stand, and definitely both of y'all can attest to this. That's why every now and then when we have an Ironman match, which lasts 60 minutes. When you watch that, don't take that for granted. Those guys have trained so fucking hard to do 60 minutes inside.
I've seen Ric Flair do so many of those, man. But of course, he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Has been since I first watched him back in. I think he started in like 74, but I started watching him in like 77, I think, or something like it, 78. And man, I've seen him do a bunch of hour matches, and he could do them right on up until he was probably in his early 60s.
Yeah, I know. He's in my top 3 of my favorites. My top 3, for sure. Yeah.
Harley Race was one of the other guys I was trying to think of earlier. Matter of fact, I talked to him and Mr. Olympian. Help me, Stan.
Mr. Olympian.
Is it Olympian or?
You talking about Kurt Angle?
No.
Not talking about.
Man, going way back.
Kim Patera, Bob Backlund?
No, Black.
Oh, Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas was the first person to tell me back in 1975. We was at that skating ring, and it was during I think around about the second match or something. And Tony was going in as a semi-main event that night, and we were standing out on this little front porch area coming into the skating ring, and he was the first person I ever heard use the word entertainment for the wrestling business. Remember me telling you? Remember me telling you that, Stan?
Yeah.
But super nice guy. You talking about a nice guy, man? Tony Atlas, and I've watched some of his videos. Just he's done here just the last few years. You know, Tony's got a past, man. Like he's a testimonial all by himself, dude. I mean, it's you gotta watch them if you hadn't seen him. He was,
Tony Atlas. I love checking out his shoot videos, man. And Tony's still big, man. Like dude's guns are unbelievable for his age, man.
We got two more. We got time for two more questions, Big Stan.
Yeah, man. Hit us because I see my man there, 2727.
Yeah.
He came with something. And let's cover all the grounds, man. We don't want to leave nobody hanging.
We got two more questions, and I think that'll probably cover it up. But we got Darkinen who says, "Is there still a heavy party culture with the athletes? They handle better than the guys in the past." I'm going to answer that because you guys are actually it. But to me, we're human beings, and I'm going to probably say there's still a lot of partying. At the end of the day, we're humans. We like to have fun, but what do you guys think?
Well, personally, me personally, when we threw, it depends on, it really depends on where we're at, basically. Say for instance, like we've got the show coming up June 3rd. It's going to be at a brewery, and this brewery, man, I mean, they've got open fire pizzas. They've got, of course, they serve liquor and beer, and they've got their own beer, and they serve domestic beer, and so as soon as that trailer's loaded up and that ring's ready to go, me and Stan, we're heading inside. We're gonna, and you say party. I don't know about party, but we're definitely going there and have a few drinks and laugh and carry on. But,
put it like this: we don't party. We are the party. SPW
when it comes to
party,
drugs, no way, no drugs whatsoever. Period, man. I don't want to be around drugs. Period. If you're doing drugs, I know you're doing drugs. You got to go.
I think that's kind of what he's meaning because we have we have the internet now that shows us everything that we didn't know back then.
That's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why I said if you're talking about drugs, no way. I'm not. Y'all was talking earlier. I listened to you earlier when y'all was talking about the marijuana thing. Look, I have nothing. I'm 62 years old. I have nothing against a person smoking marijuana. As long as he's doing it in his own home or in a place where, he ain't out, bothering nobody and you can't get in trouble, as far as the law or whatever. Hey, man, it's just like drinking. If that's what you want to do, man, I ain't got nothing against that whatsoever. I don't want to be around a bunch of it. I don't want to be around a bunch of 10, 12, 15 people all smoking, all this kind of crap. But as far as, I've got two brothers, man. I mean, they smoked since they was probably 16, 17 years old. As far as I know, they probably still smoke today. They've already retired. They've already had their whole life of working, never been in jail. So, and both of them made good money all their lives. So, when people start talking about, oh, well, marijuana is just a gateway drug. No, it's not. It's what you want it to be. If you want, look,
absolutely.
Life ain't nothing but choice. If you choose to smoke marijuana, that's all they done. They didn't do no cocaine and LSD and pop pills and So it's not a gateway drug. It's just like drinking beer. Does that make you drink liquor? No, it does not. It's all a choice. So anyway, no, some of those guys probably still party and whatever and do drugs and go out and get drunk and fight and But I don't go for all that. I like having some drinks, sitting around telling some stories, telling a couple of lies and laughing about it and But yeah, we still like to do. It's called an after party, is what it's called.
Yeah. If I'm able to make this show, you're damn straight there's going to be some partying afterwards. So,
it ain't nothing like having some fun after an exciting show and whatever. But as far as just having a few drinks and laughing and carrying on, we'll still do that. It's called an after party.
Whenever we would travel, and that's another thing about Al. Man, it didn't matter if I was wrestling for SPW or whatever company I was going to wrestle for. He would take me to the shows that I was supposed to be at. He didn't have to do that, but and then when the show was over with, hey, we're gonna go somewhere. Whoever's open and got drinks, hey, that's where we going.
That's
know
where
what
we're
I'm
going.
But that's the convenient part about being at the Red Bone. We ain't got to do nothing but
We ain't got to go far.
Yeah.
We ain't got to go far.
Walking right over there, bro. Walking right over there. We got one more question.
Go ahead.
We got one more question. Question for Al from Dare2727. How many wrestlers do you consider your care group? What's the most your promotion can handle?
When you say core.
I'm sorry. Did you say core? Core. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I think it means the roster. How many you got within your roster that you can handle at SPW?
As far as what is putting you on the roster or per show?
Big Stan, I think what he means is how many wrestlers are on the roster. Do you have like a set number you can only handle?
No, I don't. Yeah. I've got about 6 guys that I use as much as I can because I know what, and Stan's being one of them, Cowboy Jeremy Young being another, and I was using Slam Shady, you know, and you know, we was using let's see, out of Oklahoma, but he got sick.
Big Smooth.
I mean,
and
I've looked,
Smooth.
and I've even looked.
Get well soon, brother.
Yeah, man, for real. And then Humongous, you know, the original Humongous, Mr. Nations. We, you know, I've tried to bring him on a few times, and we had a cancellation one time because of the pandemic, and then the next thing you know, then we had another show coming up, and then it poured down rain the whole weekend. It was an outside show, so you know, I kind of probably looked like a dog because I had to cancel 2 shows last year, one for the pandemic and one for, you know, a thunderstorm that we had come through Texarkana. But those guys I'm going to use as much as I can. I've got you know, a couple of others that I use pretty much, but as far as the roster itself, I've got, you know, I probably got about 8 that I use all the time, and then I'll look around for others, and you know, and I'm always looking.
For me, normally what I go off of in order to give approval for performers to come back, at least I do a lot of interacting with the local fans, you know, that they come and attend the show. I usually get their feedback on a lot of the performers and their matches and things like that.
Right.
That determines, you know, if I would like to consider them coming back either the next show or on down the road or something like that. You know, I do a lot of the listening to the people, you know what I'm saying?
And as a promoter, I do the same thing. Stan knows. I don't stay back in the back. I don't stand there talking to the guys. I don't make sure they know what they're going to be doing. No, they already know. We've already talked, and it's over. That part's over with. When that show starts, I'm out in the crowd. I'm not sitting down. I'm not talking to the guys or nothing. I'm out in the crowd because I'm watching a lot of different things. I'm watching the interaction of the crowd, what they like, what they don't like, what they're talking about. You know, if they're sitting there talking about, oh, Stan, boy, he looks terrible tonight. Boy, he don't look good. Well, then I'm going to have to tell Stan, hey, man, there's some people that said you didn't look good.
Said nobody ever.
No, they haven't done it, but I'm just saying, for instance, or if a guy says, you know, he's, you know, I don't like him. Well, you know, not liking him could be a good thing, you know, but you know, I read the crowd. I love to watch the crowd and get their you know, get their input on, you know, well, not really their input. I'm really stealing their input because I'm listening to everything they're saying. I'm walking around. I'm asking people, how you liking the show so far? And then, you know, I'm hearing some over here talking or whatever. And that's what I love to do, man. I do a lot of that. I don't sit in the back like some promoters do. I remember Skandar Akbar. Akbar used to be the world's worst. He'd stay in the back the whole time. And the whole time I knew him, you never saw him. You know, if you didn't go to the back, if you didn't have permission to go to the back, you only saw him before the matches or after the matches, but you never saw him during the matches until and God rest his soul. But I went down to Paris, Texas one time. He was in Paris, Texas, and I had met Akbar's girlfriend at the time, and she liked me. You know, it's just a like me because of person to person kind of thing. It wasn't nothing, you know, offbeat or nothing like that because I'm a married man. But anyway, but she sat with me, and we sat on the first bench. I mean, this was on a what do you call it? The rafters, the like high school gym, on the
bleachers.
Yeah, bleachers. We sat on the first deal there. Well, we looked back there because we sat right there on the edge, and right there going into the dressing rooms, which between the bleachers, and look back here, and there's Akbar sitting in a chair about halfway down, and he was keeping his eyes on me and her the whole night. It was so funny. So anyway, at that time I still smoked. So we walked, I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. She said, well, let me walk out there with you. I said, okay. So we walk out there and we went out to my truck because I had left my cigarettes in my truck. So I just stood outside in front of my truck and was smoking. And that's just a funny story. But anyway, I was sitting there smoking, and then I looked up and I seen Slam Shady walking outside, and he's just looking. And what had happened was Akbar sent Slam out there to see if he couldn't find us, find out what we were doing. It was so funny. Well, to me, it was funny. It might not be funny to nobody else, but it was really funny to me. We went on back in, and of course, like I said, he's still right there behind us. And he never did say nothing to me.
He was a player.
Yeah, he thought I was a player, but what he didn't know is I really wasn't. I mean, she was nice, and I liked talking to her, and she tell me some stories. She told me a lot of stuff about Akbar that probably a lot of people didn't know. But anyway, and I'll take it to my grave on some of it too. But anyway, it was just fun. I mean, she was just fun. I met her in Denton, Texas, when we went up to see Terry Funk. Me and Jimmy Phillips went up to Denton and met Terry Funk, and that's where I actually met her at. She introduced herself when she saw us and seen us talking to some people that she knew. She come up and asked who we were, and I told her, and then she just, I don't know, she just liked me ever since. But anyway, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got a billion stories, man, but we ain't got time to talk about all of them. Stan looks tired.
That's all the reason why we had to bring you back on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
Big Stan knows, and Al talking about him being out in the crowd, actually he's out there putting in the work while the guys are putting in the work. Stan's a fighting champion. That's the phrase I use all the time, letting the rough side drag. That means putting the boots to the street. It means getting some elbow grease in, and these guys are definitely fucking doing that every fucking show. They're definitely letting the rough side drag.
I'm not trying to put, like put no extra sauce on myself and Al or whatever, but I don't know too many wrestlers or wrestling related personalities or individuals that's really out in the community amongst the people, like on a daily, weekly, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can see us, you can find us, you can catch us. We are normally out and about on the streets trying to make sure that the awareness is up. I mean, people contact us all the time, through Messenger and inbox or whatever, and I mean, we try to interact with everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're really personable with the community and things like that, because we build relationships with everybody, especially since we decided to go ahead and just home base out of Texarkana a couple of years ago, and that's been something that has really been helpful to me, to help me to kind of get used to being able to interact with people and out in the, in the community or whatever again. And I think that's the big difference between us. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't try to put ourselves out there to be like some type of superstar or nothing like that. We're your local professional wrestling company, and we're just bringing the best of what it is to offer with professional wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just getting the best of everything by dealing with us, because we're just like anybody else that's in your neighborhood that you would talk to on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else, I'm not knocking nobody else, but I think that's what sets us aside. If anybody's wondering what the difference is with SPW, why does everybody want to support SPW so much? Because we are actually personal with everybody that comes out to support us. We're actually personal with these businesses that sponsor us and things like that. So just to put that out there, shed some light on that, because I think that need to be touched on. We do hit the streets. We do stump the pavement. I'm on the internet on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Pat, you know that for yourself. You know, Al knows that. Like, we doing this right here is an example. Like, we really get out there and grind. We don't have stuff. We don't expect nobody to come out and support us if we're not doing our job.
Wow.
And that's the
You know, I
difference
have never
with pro wrestling.
I've never asked a guy to pass out a flyer for me. I've never asked nobody to go get sponsors for me. I've never asked nobody to do nothing as far as putting my shows together. Most of them I put them together myself, or I've had a partner, and which now is Big Stan. We put everything together ourselves. We don't ask the other folks to do anything. I'm in the street. You talking about paying your dues? I've paid my dues ever since I got in this business, and you don't ever stop. You know, especially if you want to make something happen. You're never going to pay your dues. I mean, you ain't going to pay all of them. I'm still, I was telling Stan. I mean, up until last year, last show, I put the ring. We put the ring on the trailer, take them off the trailer, set it up at the venue, put it back on the trailer, take it back to where we store it, and take it back off again. We're doing all that. Of course, now I've told Stan, like I said, with my age and health and stuff, I mean, I can't continue to do the ring thing. But as far as setting up the chairs, getting the sponsors, meeting people to give them tickets, and all this, I do it. I do it all. I get my own tickets made. I get all my own stuff. I don't ask nobody to do anything, and that's another thing. I notice a lot of these guys, they asked, and they got 15, 20 people running all over the place, and still you go to the show and they got 40 people there. So you get out what you put in.
Just to bounce off that, again, man, like we get out there and get it, but we get the most hate. Don't think Southwest Pro Wrestling ain't hated.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You ain't doing something right unless you got haters. So
you're gonna have critics. I don't care what you do, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do.
Hey, man, we gotta have Al on again, Big Stan. You know what I mean?
Oh, most definitely. Hey, bro, anybody I bring on here, I'm not bringing them on here for nothing. It's essential. You know what I'm saying? That the people know what's really going on. People are going to know what they should know that they haven't known before I brought them on to the WrestleChat Wednesday. That's what this is for. This is going to be a way for people to find out and be educated on some things about professional wrestling that they need to know. This stuff does not need to be kept in a bottle. You know what I'm saying? This stuff needs to be put out there for the world and the universe to be able to know about it the right way.
You can't do it in we've had Al on since about I think 25 or 30 minutes into the show, somewhere around there. Man. You can't get enough of what you need to know from the business, from the guys in the business in this short amount of time. So that's why each segment we have people on, Big Stan's got people in here, and we're learning more from the business. And we can keep going over and over, and we still ain't going to learn everything from all the knowledge that people have to give.
The bounce off of what Al was talking about the promoting and paying your dues, one of the key things that Dr. X laid on me when I was, being elevated to the position that I'm in now, behind the scenes, he was telling me, you never can promote enough. You promote till you just can't promote no more, and then when you feel like you can't promote no more, then you promote some more. So shut up.
Yeah,
you know what's so professional wrestling.
What's so weird? What's so weird though is your buddies, I call him your Blade brother. That's how I met him. You know, I actually met him through Dr. X. Well, actually, he called me up and he says, "Hey, man, I hear you're a promoter, da-da-da-da-da." And I say, yeah. And he said, "Well, I'm training over in Magnolia, Arkansas." And told me, you know, Dr. X, he was at his school and da-da-da-da-da. So I went over there. So he said, he said, whereabouts in Ashdown, Arkansas do you live? And I told him, you know, and he said, yeah, I know where that's at. So he came by the house, and me and him went over there one Saturday afternoon. He was going to go over there, calling himself going to train. And, you know, I met a couple others over there too. And this is the same guy. This is the same guy that's running these unprofessional wrestling events. But
trash
and
bag.
I like the guy. I really like the guy. And he knows I like him. And he knows what he's doing. But and won't listen. Will not listen. He already knows everything about the business. You can't tell him nothing. And look, I don't know everything about the business. I've been in and around this thing since I was 16, 17 years old, and I still learn something every show I go to. I learn something, and you're going to do that. And if you're looking to learn, you're going to continue to learn. If you stay in the business 50, 60, 70, I guarantee you, Ric Flair tell you, he probably still learning stuff himself if he's still, you know, attending the events. And I know he would have said that, you know, 5, 10 years ago, but you're and it's just like paying your dues, same thing. You're never gonna learn everything. It don't matter how long you stay in the business. And I don't act like I know everything, but I have told so many people, man, I'll help you. And I've got and there's a, and I don't know if he comes on or if he sees this or whatever, but there's one here over in the Hot Springs area. You know, I've told that guy all the ins and outs and everything else about this business as far as being a promoter and all that. And he's running shows right now, and I think he's pretty successful. He's doing pretty good, you know, but and I said, like I tell you, because they know that if they, you know, people telling you, hey, if you call Al, he'll help you, you know, and I'll give you everything I know. And I don't know everything, but I'll help you out as much as I can. That's just the way that's the way I'll go out.
Let's give a shout out to Input real quick. I see you tapped in.
Yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. But yeah, we've been on for an hour and a half. So
yeah, man. I guess we better go ahead and wrap this thing up because it's easy to go into 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. MIC.
Yeah, we want to save some more for the next time. For the next time that we have the international hustler in on this thing.
It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. It's been a pleasure for sure.
Man, hey, the pleasure's all mine, man. I'm living the dream with being on with Big Stan over here, being on with Al. The guest that we had last week was amazing. Dr. X.
Precious. I saw that show.
Precious was awesome. I'm living the dream getting to hang with all y'all, man.
I appreciate it. Formerly known. Martin, formerly known as Precious. Martin, Precious.
Yeah.
He's not doing wrestling from Memphis, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, but that's all I got over here, man.
Hey guys, I appreciate you bringing me on.
This was just as good, if not better than what I had already projected. I can't wait to do it again with my main man, my partner, my good friend. He's really like he's like a father to me. You know,
watch out,
he's
man.
Always there when I need it. And I'm very grateful, very appreciative about for you doing all that you've done for me since day one being in the business, Mr. Al Henderson.
And we will continue.
Absolutely. And again, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate my main man, the ultimate co-host, the hitter, the strangler, and the mangler. The pack attack.
Am I pointing at him?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
I want to make sure I get it right.
I have to go opposite.
But yeah, man, appreciate everybody for tuning in and joining in with the second Wrestle Chat Wednesday here on YouTube. We're gonna try to hit you up with one more before the show on June 3rd. So we might have Al back on with us due to it being right before the Southwest Pro Wrestling Showdown at the brewery. We're gonna try to put a little more sauce on it for the next one. I don't know how we're gonna pull it off, but we'll come up with something. But anyway, just be sure to tune in, because I guarantee you will not want to miss it. And with that said, this is Big Stan Harris, the Super Destroyer, the professional wrestling machine, and the man with the drip, baby.
With the drip.
Texarkana wrestling champion representing Southwest Pro Wrestling. Does anybody else have anything else to say?
All I gotta say is
go on and on and on, baby.
All I gotta say is drip.
See ya, brother.
And we out of here. Yeah.
Peace. Live.